I've got an email from one of our followers. This is the first time I'm reading it out because it is so good. I saw your message to send in your ideas for videos and thought I would suggest a case that I can't find much information on but have been thinking about a lot recently. On July 26, 2007, a 53-year-old Thai woman named Wonchai Trackett disappeared without a trace in Bangkok, Thailand. The last place she was seen alive was inside of an elevator in a government building. But there's a twist to this story. Her body was never recovered, and the security footage shows that no one else entered or exited the elevator for hours after she disappeared. And this is where the story gets strange. At 9:28 a.m., the elevator footage shows Wong entering the elevator alone. In the days since her disappearance, her family has put up reward posters and visited many hospitals to see if she may have been injured and taken to a medical facility. But so far there have been no signs of Wong. Then at 9:29 a.m., the elevator goes up to the 13th floor and the doors open. But there is no sign of anyone exiting the elevator. She wasn't reported missing right away, so maybe someone saw her and she's alive and well somewhere. Or maybe she did something terrible like jump out the window. But there is one big problem with those theories. The killer then proceeded to take the elevator up and down, so that the security footage would show that no one was in the elevator with her. Perhaps Wong got into the elevator and was kidnapped, and that's why the footage is showing the elevator going up and down without anyone else in it. The kidnappers could have used the elevator to lure Wong into it. But if that's the case, why did they leave the elevator at 2:21 p.m.? Were they trying to throw off the police? Maybe. It is impossible for the elevator to go up and down without anyone getting in or out. And the fact that someone exited the elevator at 2:21 p.m. only adds more questions than it answers. Was Wong ever in that elevator? And if so, what happened to her? I believe that Wong was in that elevator and she was most likely murdered. But there is one question I have. Why did they take Wong into that elevator? Do you think you could have prevented this crime? Please let us know in the comments below. Why? I'm not sure. So we're gonna try more stuff like this in the future. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more stuff like this, please smash the thumbs up button. Maybe they just wanted to throw off the police, or maybe they were trying to cover their tracks by making it look like Wong never entered the elevator in the first place. But there is one piece of evidence that does not add up. Why would the killer leave the elevator at 2:21 p.m.? Why wouldn't they just stay in the elevator and hide? Unless they knew the police weren't going to check the elevator for a long time. They probably would have stayed in there and waited until the building was empty before leaving. Maybe they left the elevator at 2:21 p.m. to go to another part of the building to hide the evidence. But then why did they come back to the elevator at 2:21 p.m. to begin with? It just doesn't make sense. And you'll never guess what it is. Drum roll, please. There are no windows in the elevator. Seriously, how do you build a skyscraper with no windows in the elevator? That is terrifying. The case is currently ongoing and the police have no leads. Every time I watch an episode of CSI, they always find some tiny little piece of evidence that gives them a lead in the case. But in real life, cases like this go cold and the victims are never found. I really hope that this isn't the case with Wong. And it is common for people to share elevators and even ride up and down in the same elevator without exiting. Would you run out of the elevator? Would you call the police? Would you stay in the elevator and wait for it to go back down? Let us know in the comments below. 1. She was murdered inside of the elevator by someone we don't know. Maybe someone got into the elevator with her at some point and the cameras just didn't catch him. Or 2. She was kidnapped inside of the elevator. There is a third possibility, but I refuse to say it because it is so outlandish that it just cannot be true. Also, the news stories I read said that Wong was wearing a long black dress and high heels when she disappeared. Maybe she left the elevator at some point and the camera just couldn't see her. But why would the person who exited the elevator at 2:21 p.m. not be Wong? That person was wearing completely different clothes than Wong, and they were wearing shorts and flip-flops. It makes no sense. It then goes back down to the ground floor at 9:30 a.m. and still nobody exits the elevator. They have searched the building and the surrounding area, but have found no evidence in the case. They've even gone through the security footage from the day before to try and figure out where Wong may have come from. But they've turned up nothing. At 9:31 a.m., the elevator goes up to the 13th floor again and waits for 3 minutes before going back down to the first floor. Then, between 9:34 a.m. and 10:07 a.m., the elevator goes up and down from the first floor to the 13th floor 8 times, with no one ever leaving the elevator. And I mean absolutely no one. At 10:07 a.m., the elevator goes up to the 13th floor and sits there for 4 hours. It doesn't go up or down until 2:07 p.m. when it goes down to the first floor. A few minutes later, at 2:11 p.m., the elevator goes up to the 13th floor and stays there for 10 minutes. Then at 2:21 p.m., it goes down to the first floor, and finally the doors open and someone exits the elevator, but it wasn't Wong. So what happened to her? Let's investigate. It's the case of a missing woman named Vang Viang, who went missing on July 26, 2007 in Bangkok, Thailand. Before we get into this case, I just wanted to let you all know that this is a real ongoing investigation. If you have any information about the disappearance of Wanshai Trackert, all I know is that she entered an elevator in a government building but never came out. CCTV footage exists. That's all I know. What was she doing inside of the building? Well, we don't know. She could have been visiting someone, or she may have had business with the government. The building houses several government offices, including the Revenue Department and the Social Security Office. We also don't know what floor she entered the building on. There are 14 floors in total. I hope this helps, and I look forward to hearing more about this case when you do a video. The name's not important. She lives in London, and she says, "Hey, so I did a little digging into this one, and here's what I found. This is a crime." On July 2007, Wong entered a government building located at 289/1 Ratchadamnon Nok Avenue in Bangkok. What we do know is that at 9:28 a.m., she entered an elevator to go somewhere in the building. When Wong didn't show up for dinner that night, her family went to the police and reported her missing. As you're watching this, keep in mind that this is a Thai building. Police have admitted that they are stumped on this case, and they do want to know what happened to Wong. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Maybe she got off the elevator at some point and walked away. There are two possible explanations for what happened to Wong. If I had to guess what happened in this case, I would say that Wong got into the elevator and was either murdered or kidnapped. Maybe we're overthinking this. What scares me about this case is that we may never know what happened to Wong. But there is one question I have for you. How would you react if you were in the elevator with Wong and you saw this happen? And now for my final thoughts on this case. Something strange is going on here. I know this video was different, but I actually think this is the kind of content our audience wants to see. If you enjoyed this video, you'll love the podcast. There are new episodes every Wednesday and Saturday. You can listen on various platforms.